region have these integrations? Do we need them? Do we need these integrations in Africa, from ECOWAS to ECOMAG to COMESA, East African Community? What's the purpose of the African Union? That's why they call integrations. These integrations create the bargaining base. The continent gets a bargaining base. These markets are very neutral. That's the question as to why we need markets. That the continent should have one market. We should have one bargaining power. You see, Africa is so fragmented, and this is a very big problem. The parochialism and localism index in Africa is very high. People do not want to care. Where is the world moving, even when it is a global village? Today I've been invited to discuss more on the question of integrations in East Africa. I am very happy that I've been hosted on this show, and I'll always be around for you people to consume what we give to you. I've been put up to this, that I need to discuss more about the various integrations in the region. Have these integrations, do we need them? Do we need these integrations in Africa, from ECOWAS to ECOMAG to COMESA, East African Community? Various people downtown in Uganda, downtown in Kenya, downtown in Rwenzori have been asking us, and they've been telling us, you as analysts, do we really need these integrations? Recently, the Democratic Republic of Congo joined the East African Community, and I was questioned by people in the down world, and they asked me, really, do we need these things? Do we need them? And I was like, yes, we need these regions. And I would like to begin quickly by switching off to the purpose of these groupings, like the African Union. What's the purpose of the African Union? Africa, a continent of 1 billion people, one market. These markets are very neutral. Markets are neutral. And when you say you want markets, you're going to compete. The consumer base is very high. Every person in the world is really struggling to get to the 1 billion market, where the negotiating power is one, and people are negotiating with one voice. You see, Africa is so fragmented, and this is a very big problem in the world. You go to Europe, you find there's a European Union. You go to America, the States Union, the United States, USA, 54 states plus. You come to Europe, countries are in the European Union. You go to Asia, countries are there. China, 1 billion people. And here in Africa, you find that a small state like a district, even Netherlands, a country like Netherlands, I've been discussing with people, a country like Netherlands, with its smaller area base, compared to a country like Uganda and Congo, which can consume Netherlands with its population by 100 times, but Netherlands is felt on the world scale more than Uganda. And sometimes I'm always told that that's the power of integration, the power of AU. Take for instance, when President Museveni had just come in with Uganda's population of 22 million people. I remember in one of his writings, he puts it up, he's like, Uganda attracted over 2,000 plus new enterprises in the country in a period of 10 years with a population of 20 million people. And during the same time, China, a country of over 900 million plus people, attracted over 300,000 new enterprises. So everyone on the global scale was fighting to penetrate the huge market in China of over 1 billion people, not the market of Uganda. That's why they call integrations. These integrations create the bargaining base. The continent gets a bargaining base. Where the Europeans could have fragmented Africa, but now here the time has come when we have to discover these very natural resources in our countries. I am always burdened by the various analysts. They are telling us that Congo is a rich country. Well, Congo is rich, but rich in what aspect? If the continent cannot utilize Congo as a country, as Europeans have utilized their nations, they are telling people in Butembo, Congo, people in deep forests, that you are very rich. These people are seated on stones, diamond. But how can you say that I'm rich yet I don't have food? So time has come when the African continent must utilize the very diamond in Congo, deep there in Butembo, and people must utilize this diamond. Unless they utilize it, Congo is a poor country. People are feeding on cockroaches, and you are telling them that they are living in a good country. Take, for instance, recently, I was watching documentaries about Japan. The Japanese live in a country without oil. The country of Japan, people are highly skilled. The manpower in Japan is highly skilled. Japan ranks as the world's third largest economy. Africa, as a continent of 50 plus nations combined, even if you combine the economies of Africa, you cannot form one Japan. Recently I was making a comparison of the states. A state in America like California, which I've been reading about, a state like California has a huge GDP economy than the entire African continent. And this surprises me, that people address African states like Burundi, African states like Lesotho, African states like Swaziland as countries. These countries were fragmented for a purpose which was colonial in nature and for the independence reasons. When you go to the United Nations and you watch in the UN Gallery, UN Assembly in New York, you see black people, very many there. And you ask yourself, what's this? It is just a showpiece of celebration. Because I don't get it if there are very many in attendance and yet they don't contribute anything on the world bargaining power. Because if the prices are set on the Wall Street market in the USA, but you tell me that we shall always be many in the UN Assembly, what is the purpose? What if we formed one base, that is the African Union, various integrations like ECOWAS, gotten that bargaining power within ourselves as a region, and at the end of the day, we'll be like, now, this is our bargaining power as a continent. Recently I was reading about the travel timeline index in the world, that you travel to Sydney, Australia. When you travel to Sydney, Australia, from Africa, that is Mauritius, it takes you 8 hours, approximately. But when you go to Sydney in Australia, you don't find African products in markets in Australia. But you find that products from Europe. So, from Europe and America to travel to Australia, it is around 21 hours. So if Africans were serious and had that bargaining power and capacity to set up those industries, capacity to save their resources, we would be utilizing those 8 hours to travel from Australia, Sydney, and come back to Africa before an aeroplane leaves London and comes back to London. That's what we call the maximizing. You maximize the hours on flight. If you see, when you visit countries like Argentina, you fly from Rwanda in Angola to Argentina to Brazil, from Africa. Very little hours along the way. But you reach in Brazil, the supermarkets are full of products from Japan. People who travel for two days from Japan to Australia. If we had that bargaining power within ourselves as a continent, we would see ourselves bargain on the world market, bargain everywhere. But these abnormal groupings that are in Africa. Recently, I was arguing out something when Mark Zuckerberg and the Elon Musks of this world, the Twitter owner, I saw Elon Musk myself buy Twitter that night. I was watching Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera, someone is showing it up. He buys Twitter at $40 billion. Here in Uganda, my country, which is disguised as the country, makes a budget of $40 billion. And I was asking myself, is Uganda a country if its value of a budget is worth the price that bought Twitter? If a single company in America is worth an entire country, is that a country? And why would we celebrate it that we have countries in Africa? If a country's budget like Burundi is equal to a daily investment, a daily revenue in a state in California, why doesn't the governor of New York, the governor of New York, he controls a state of over $1 trillion. He controls a state which has a huge GDP, more than the entire continent of Africa. Why doesn't the world listen to a governor of New York more than the president of any African nation? Even these countries like Nigeria have challenges, they have issues. And these issues must be sorted out by the very African youth through coming together. Time has come when we should embrace the economic markets and leave the question of who are you, identity and religion. Religion disintegrates us so much. Well, one can be a Muslim from North Africa another one can be a Christian from Uganda, another one can be anything else from Southern Africa. But when you come to markets, these markets are very neutral. That's the question as to why we need markets. That the continent should have one market. We should have one bargaining power. We should wake up in the morning and have a train moving straight away from Cape Town, Southern Africa, to Cairo in Egypt. A train from Mombasa, Kenya, straight away to Lagos. You come to Africa here. Recently I was watching one of the Kenyans, a professor in Kenya, and he was making it very clear that every point of Africa, every airport you travel to, you're exchanging currencies. You come to Uganda, you need a shilling. You go to Congo, you need a different currency. So every time you travel, you spend around 30 minutes exchanging money on the border posts. But someone is flying direct from USA or direct from France with a euro to Belgium. You are spending an hour every time you travel of exchanging currency. But the businessman is flying through 3 countries in Europe because the integrations are working that side. There is a euro, the euro is working. Someone is in America, 54 states, they're using the dollar. He travels from California, Texas, New York, within the rhythm of the country, which work, systems work. So these unions, the African Union, must invest more in making it a reality more than a showpiece. Not us going to the United Nations, posing around with photographs and our presidents, and at the end of the day we are told that we have these integrations. I think the world has come to its rhythm of knowing that now it's our time as black people to dance and be like, now we happy to be alive. Recently I was amazed, and when I saw a country deep down in it was Zambia. It was a country like Zambia. I think it was Marawi and Mozambique. The question of floods. The world is making donations, African Union is making donations, but the Europeans again are making a huge donation through the European Union more than the African Union. So we have to sound more unique. The African Union should bring a huge donation and prove these Europeans that really the African Union is working. How will we tell these people that our unions are working, like the African Union, yet they are still donating more to us? So this time we are trying to tell people that, please, look, this is your position in the world as a continent. The continent is lagging behind. We have a continent which almost every country in Europe. So I see countries, very small countries from Europe, like Finland. Really, I see countries like Iran donating to the continent. Where does the problem lie here in our continent, the beautiful continent, the continent of beautiful, wise people, Africa, where I belong and I'm a proud African. One is sorting out the political question. We can never create a good system, good things, when our systems are like this in Africa. Well, I may not say that we may copy up the European setting style of democracy, that one must go for 4 years, 3 years, 4 years. But we can create a system which is more open and more inclusive to the people of the world. If one is given an opportunity to lead in this continent of Africa, we can eliminate the question of ethnicity. That's a very big challenge in this continent, because we are in a continent whereby the homecoming parties are becoming an issue, where corruption has been ethnized. Everything now is put to the ethnic grouping and the village grouping. When a person, sometime back, I think I was reading a book, and someone was trying to elaborate a point whereby you produce children and they go to school at the end of the day after going to school, and these children go to government, some rob the government, some don't rob the government, but the child comes out of school after 2 years. He works after 3 years. He tells you, Mom, I'm still earning some money, though little. The other one steals. After 1 year, he builds a flat. You hold a beer party for him. What are you encouraging? Why don't you tell these young Africans to study, work with hands which are pure clean? And there's a problem that in a certain country in Africa, there was a case, I think it was about corruption, and when this person was almost being, the prostitution process was going on, the clan leaders, village heads, religious heads, and everyone in the village went to the leader. They were like, no, you can't arrest him, he is our son.
So if the Sun mentality can be declined for once, and we go for systems which work, that even the sons of the land can be prosecuted, that would make some good sense. Because it doesn't make sense when the wrongdoing of everything is put to the leaning of a village, of a what. And, and here in Africa, the electoral process also, the electoral process in Africa is very dangerous. That these days you can have your ideas, very good, you die with them. And it's already seen these days. Without buying alcohol, without buying beer parties, and you throw a heavy beer party of almost a $1 million plus. Because here in Africa it is very and very expensive. It should be expensive in Europe because Europeans have a they have minimum working, minimum what payment, they have what. And in Europe someone can sponsor an election, political parties are working, parties can sponsor themselves, they have been around for a good time. But here, a mere citizen comes up, he sells everything he has, he joins the race, $1 million is spent in the election. At the end of the day, he commits suicide because he hasn't gotten the election. So time has come when we should say, let's streamline the system. Put a system that even the one who comes in with a few pounds, a few dollars can win, a few shillings can win. And this would look more good. Because if you don't solve the problem, which is the political question, you will never have a country. Because every time people will be discussing about politics, politics should be food, because politics is not solved. Take for instance in Africa, every person sees himself as a potential candidate to become a political figure. Because that question is not solved. If that question is solved, and a certain class is seen to present others, then the continent will be a better one to stay in. If you say these homecoming parties in Africa, they're inciting something to people, that this one is our member of the society, is our son, whatever he does wrong in the government, he still belongs to us. I would also want to discourage donations in church which are very heavy by politicians. A politician donates heavily in church to be protected by the church. And the church in Africa is different from the church in Europe. The church in Africa is in its own world. The church in Africa is protecting political figures from prostitution. That's Africa for you. Africa is so good. However much Africa has tried to manage issues related to diversity. Recently I was seeing how Africa has managed diversity compared to Europe. When you go to Europe, you see the Swiss are Swiss, the Spaniards are Spaniards. You see Europeans are set in their almost their ethnicities and their cultures, their upbringing is almost similar. You go to Congo here, down here, 50 tribes plus. You come to Uganda, the same. Yes, we have tried to contain the ethnicity, but the wrong element we bring to that point of ethnicity is very wrong. So I think time has come when we should tell people that please, we can compete, be good, we can do this, be good, without bringing this element of keeping ourselves around to dance. You see, dancing for so long is not nice. You can dance by changing the dance moods. It's acceptable to society. So for me, when I was around in 2007, I think, and I saw what happened in Kenya. Because people were carrying the son syndrome. This is our son, he cannot lose an election. And you saw what happened. If these people of Kenya knew that an election is an election, you can lose and go home. And even the political parties here in Africa, they're not political parties. A person wakes up in the morning, is this party. The next morning is this one. In 10 years, he has visited 20 political parties. Now, visiting political parties in Africa is also a career. That you can visit political parties every day getting lunch and lunch and lunch. Now it's also a career in Africa. That you visit each political party for supper, another one you visit for lunch, another one you visit for evening tea, another one you visit for breakfast. So now in Africa, that is the setting that we have said. We are in what you call the parochialism and localism index in Africa is very high. People do not want to care. Where is the world moving? Even when it is a global village. I saw the pandemic was here. Africa was busy hiding, and the rest of the world was taking off. And Africa, after COVID now, the continent is in doom. People are suffering. Everyone is suffering in Africa. We don't have the bargaining power at the world. And I think the political question can be sorted. When we sort the political question, we can sort out the very question of religion and what. People should be told that religion, you can be a Catholic, I be Muslim, we work together, go to markets, compete, bargain. That's it, period. So I think for today we can say that let us first sort out the political question. The political question in Africa carries a lot of sense. It influences the religion, it influences money. In Africa to become a money lender, you also have to belong to that political party. In Africa to become a footballer on a national team of a football team, you belong to the ruling party. In Africa to become a village chief also, you have to belong to that ruling party. So when we sort out the political question, that would be the biggest answer in this continent. We may not copy the European mode of style, but we can look for a mode of style which is more appropriate, more appreciative, and more inclusive to have a super continent that can flag off colors in the rest of the world. But otherwise, I think the political question is all what we need right now to be solved fast. Because beer parties are beer parties. You hear someone is going to become, even a councillor in the village, a councillor spends billions. You see a councillor dancing up and down. People are jubilating. Recently I've heard about the scientists striking in a certain country in Africa and everywhere. Scientists need more pay. How will these scientists argue for more pay? Yet a fellow who was not a scientist, or yet someone who does not know what it takes, is the one leading, is the one at the dance, is dancing with them in the village, is doing what? So I think if our leaders can advocate for these things which are positive. I saw the President of the Republic of Uganda advocating for a pay rise. He's doing all he can do. But the society does not accept what he says because they believe that there is another option of survival. I can become a councillor and dance and do beer parties and people vote me even if I don't become a scientist. So we needed to first tell people to be ideologically enriched before they run for these things. So otherwise I think when we sort out the political question, other things will be okay. It's gonna be alright in this continent. Then we can integrate after sorting out these political questions, because in a certain country they lead for 6 terms, in a certain country 8 terms, in a certain country 10 terms, in a certain country 30 terms. We can have a streamlined system. Then later we can say, now let's start with these regional groupings. EAC, we bring Congo, we bring Sudan. Then after we can go on, make one currency, go to EAC. Everything will be alright in this continent if we sort out the political question, because all battles in Africa are ethnically engineered, or they are political in nature, or they are engineered by these religions. But the biggest solution would be us solving the political question. So for now we can say the political question is the problem, because every person, even in the village, is dancing, everywhere is dancing. Old women are running for 1,000, and it's very dangerous. It's a very dangerous step we're in. If we do not solve the political question in our countries, we are doomed. But I know the next generation of this continent may help to solve this question, maybe. But for now, we wait on 2 further integrations in the region. Thank you.